Are we on the verge of a crypto meltdown, a time where prices are really going to hit some of these max pain levels that people are talking about? So, really, what made me want to talk about this was there's this article that came out. This was done by Finbold, and this was specifically highlighting analyst Alan Santana, and he indicated a possible downturn in Bitcoin's price that would obviously extend to the rest of the market. So what he pointed out was Bitcoin's technical indicators and recent price movements are as evidence supporting the likelihood of a forthcoming crash. The expert identified a troubling pattern reminiscent of a cap formation, suggesting a looming trend reversal. Compounding this observation, the all-time high and subsequent lower high sessions concluded with red candle closures below the EMA 10, signaling a bearish trajectory for Bitcoin. Furthermore, the expert noted that Bitcoin has sustained 2 consecutive weeks of trading below the EMA 10, further solidifying the prevailing bearish sentiment in the market. So he starts talking about how low Bitcoin can drop. He said, the EMA 50 is at 46K. It might drop to 40K. It might even go all the way down to 34. And the problem with these is you can TA these things to death, right? You guys can look at this and say, oh yeah, Bitcoin's done this in the past, and there's this overall bearish sentiment and trend that's forming and all these things, right? But the problem is TA only goes so far, and it doesn't take into account things that are happening outside of the charts, right? The charts don't always paint the full picture. And things that are happening that aren't necessarily represented in the charts right now are institutional money is really flowing in a heavy way. And it's a big contributor to why we got into these price levels in the first place. Remember, BTC was pushed up very heavily by institutional money buying about $12 billion worth of BTC, liquidating tons of shorts along the way, right? We know that there are countries abroad that are adding BTC every single day. We know that retail is starting to hit the market earlier. We know that optics are here at a time where they're typically not, right? We have more coverage in terms of the crypto market than we've ever had. And that's including even at the height of the bull market cycle. So all these signs and optics are at these heightened levels. And what that means is that, is it likely we drop down to those levels? No, because you can get to a point where you're so big where you don't see those retracements anymore. Now, this isn't taking into account, black swan events or big things like the R word, recession, right? That sort of stuff it could drop the market. That would drop markets throughout the world. It just kind of is what it is. But the problem is right now, BTC is actually almost looks like attempting to start a little bit of a trend reversal here. You guys can see that we're possibly setting up a little bit higher low here. This may be, in fact, where BTC kind of plants its feet and flips the opposite way. We know that we're getting closer to the Fed pivoting and starting to reduce interest rates, taking a little bit of that pressure off of the middle class and lower class, right? That's kind of what we're waiting for. We're waiting for this dynamic shift in the market. The problem is right now, prices got so high that we're waiting for the demand to reach the prices, right? Price and demand were going here, and then price took off and demand was still down here. And now we're kind of coming back down to this point of inflection. Hopefully that makes sense. And we're starting to see institutional money kind of pick back up. We went through a period where they were even kind of selling off. I don't know if you guys looked at these charts, right? But we had days where many of the institutions were selling off. They're trying to obviously, accommodate for the shift in their share prices and things like that, and uncertainty and all those sorts of things. But we're not in necessarily these bearish times, this bearish sentiment. Most of the market is just kind of choppy. We're kind of in that boring sideways motion before things really take off. All right. I'm not sure where back here in the charts he's referencing, further big catastrophic drops in the price. Typically post halving, you don't have stuff like that. I mean, there's one back in 2016. You guys can see that drop here. But apart from that, this is almost go time. The market is basically ready to take off here. And it's about whether the macro sentiment is enough to be conducive for those further sustained moves. Hopefully that makes sense. So no, I don't think we're getting down to in the 30s. I don't think we're getting even into the low 40s or mid 40s or anything like that. If BTC does, end up doing some retracing, I think somewhere around 52K would be around where we hit. You guys can see the 200-day moving average is quickly approaching here, and BTC volatility is really lessening. We're getting to this very, very tight trading times in terms of Bitcoin. And what I want to reference is the fact that shorts right now are making this unnatural push. I should have had this pulled up. Bitcoin liquidation map. Anyways, whatever. Right now, shorts are trying to unnaturally push the market down. And you get to this point where, again, they may push too hard and as a result get liquidated to the upside. Kind of what we saw on the way up. Okay. That's kind of where we're at right now. That's my assessment of the market. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not, right? I was very right on the way up about the direction and the path that we would see. It's been kind of hit or miss lately just because there have been some different things happening, some uncertain times, new things happening in the market. Oh, I didn't even talk about institutional money abroad, right? Approval of the Australian spot ETF, approval of Hong Kong ETFs, more ETF products hitting, hitting altcoins. I mean, the market's becoming so big. We're entering mass adoption. Enterprises are beginning to enter the space. All these big things that are going to be a positive influence in the market are flowing in at unprecedented rates. And the thing is that is all happening at a rate at which we should not see these big 50% drops in terms of price, 30% drops in terms of BTC price. So that's just what I wanted to share with everyone. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I'd love to hear where you think we're headed from here, but hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys have a great day. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.